What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and today we're talking 151, and I have a whole bunch of sealed products and cards that we're going to talk about today, and what I'm hunting for here is fair value, and that is very important to call out early on this video, is because, listen, 151 is wildly popular. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, so it is hard to find those undervalued sealed products or undervalued cards, because the market is sitting here with open arms and big eyes, and they're just hunting for them left and right, so usually whenever they pop up, they're absorbed and purchased almost immediately. So it is absolutely okay, and it is acceptable for a set like 151 to look for awesome cards at fair prices, because at the end of the day, that is still going to give you an awesome outsized opportunity for returns in the long run. Now, there's so many things about 151 that makes it special. I'm going to hit on a couple of them in the very beginning, but the biggest thing to me is almost always when I do content around 151, somewhere in the comments down below, somebody says, hey, listen, I came back into the hobby because of 151, and that is incredibly powerful. Now, Sword and Shield brought a lot of people back into the hobby, but that was an entire era, and that was driven by the pandemic. People stuck at home, right? They reminisced, they found Pokemon again, and they absolutely flooded into the hobby. 151 is an individual set with no kind of macro things going on like a freaking pandemic, yet it still has driven people back into the hobby. The other thing that's really unique about 151, and it's a good thing and a bad thing all wrapped into one, is the gem rates on these cards are absolutely abysmal. The overall set has a 40% gem rate, so that means all of the 151 cards that have been sent to PSA to get graded, 40% of them, which is a very small number, have come back in PSA 10 holders. To put some perspective around that, most of the Sword and Shield sets are in the mid to high 60% gem rate range, right? And then a lot of the newer Scarlet and Violet sets are in the 60 range, right? You think Twilight Masquerade, right? That has a 60% plus gem rate overall. So this set has a very low gem rate, and over the long term, that drives value. It drives value in the PSA 10s, right? Because their population's not going to be as high as some of the other sets. It drives value in the raw cards because everybody's trying to buy those raw cards and sell them for those PSA 10s, right? So it just drives a lot of organic excitement and demand further into the future, so that's very exciting. Now, before I get into these, there are a couple call outs that I just want to say approach with a bit of trepidation, right? Scarlet and Violet 151 is still very much within the reprint, restock, whatever it is window. We have seen some products that have come back out here, but it doesn't matter. Like the market just absorbs them. So yes, it's at a risk of a major restock or a reprint at some point. You should be aware of that. But so far, every time new product has come into the market, it hasn't even been a blip on the radar. The market's absorbed it and everything has been just fine. Now, the other thing I want to call out is, as I alluded to earlier, there will be instances where you can find this in the wild and you should buy it at MSRP. The very best value of 151 is MSRP. Additionally, some of these big box stores like Costco does it all the time, right? They do bundles where I purchased a ton of them a couple months ago, but it had two 151 tins in it and it had a Pokeball tin in there. So I got two tins with 2 packs of 151 in there, plus the Pokeball had Cosmic Eclipse in it, and I got it for some ridiculously cheap price. So keep an eye out for those two. Like, that is always going to be your best value. But if you're like me and you don't have time to live at Costco and shop online all the time and search for the very best deals, we're going to talk through a bunch of really cool products and cards on this video, and I think these all have awesome opportunity for long-term price appreciation. So with that out of the way, and before we get into the actual details, if you enjoy this type of content, we do fun stuff like this all the time, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. Now, of course, slide number one, I gotta talk about the 151 Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box, and it is hard for me to sit here and talk to you about a product that is already 3x MSRP, but man, this thing just seems like it has all kinds of upside, right? Like, wouldn't we all wish we could go back to, I don't know, think about Evolving Skies booster boxes where they were at the $400 mark, right? If we could, with our magic crystal balls or if our time machines, we would go back and we'd buy all of them that we could, because obviously we know Evolving Skies booster boxes are far above that right now. That might kind of be where we are right now with these Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes, especially if there's no reprint. The Snorlax stamped promo in there is going for over $80 on the secondary market right now. Plus, you have all of the packs that are in there. Plus, when you think about specialty sets, which obviously 151 is, this is going to be the rarest sealed product period for Pokemon 151. It is going to be the rarest sealed product. There's nothing rarer. There's no booster boxes. There's no, maybe the Ultra Premium Collection might be rarer in the long run, but this is because of the way that these Elite Trainer boxes were produced, at least in the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era. I'm getting a little more concerned because the newer ones seem to be in stock much longer, but at least in the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, these things came in stock, went out of stock, and did not come back in stock. And so we're still waiting to see if any more of this is going to show up in the US. So at $100 $187 market price right now. I'm not sure if you want to go out and buy a ton, but I do think this does remind me of kind of that Evolving Skies product when I remember it was back $300, $400 a booster box. I was like, man, that's so much money, but look at where it is now. So very interesting comparison right there. The next thing that we're going to look at is a Wartelle card, and I've talked about this card a little bit over the last couple months, just in different segments where I highlight some opportunities and some value in the market. And what I love about this card is it's got Squirtle and it's got Blastoise on other side of it, right? When you think about the evolution line and the artwork that's going on here with those three cards, it might be the best Squirtle, Wartelle, Blastoise evolution line artwork ever. Hard stop. Not only that, you add in the fact that the gem rate is relatively low, you add in the fact that this is actually below $20 and it is 5.5% below where it was a year ago. With all of the excitement, with all of the popularity, with everything going on in 151, this is still 5.5% off where it was a year ago. I think it is a fantastic opportunity, even though, listen, Wartelle is kind of stuck in between those two big names, right? And so it doesn't get all the love in the world. My daughter, she loves Squirtle, but guess what? She doesn't know what the heck a Wartelle is, right? And you have people who love Blastoise, but I do think, like I said, because the trio of these three artworks are so incredibly amazing, I think that is organically going to give this card a whole lot of long-term upside. And again, it's below $20. Absolute stunner of a card. Fantastic value right now, if you ask me, and I do think it's got some opportunity for some pretty strong gains in the long run. Now, the next product right here, this is really interesting to me. So both of these boxes are the EX collection boxes, right? You got Zapdos on the left, you got Alakazam on the right. Now, when you look at the price down below, you will see that the Zapdos box is about $13 cheaper from a market price perspective than that Alakazam box. And there's really not a huge difference between the two, except the fact that the Alakazam has those three regular size promo cards and the Zapdos only has the two promo cards. And then it has the Jumbo, and not a lot of us love Jumbos. My kids love them, I don't know, just because they're big, right? But a lot of us out there, the Jumbo cards just kind of get put to the side. But when you think about this, okay, think about the special illustration rares of Zapdos and Alakazam. Which one's more expensive? The Zapdos card is, right? Like, that's a top 5 card. Now, the Alakazam isn't, you know, out of the woods by any means. It's, I think, number 8 or number 9 in terms of the most valuable. The Zapdos card, like, that is a top 5 card. And then when you think about just the popularity of these two Pokemon in general, like, we do the PSA grading report every single month on this channel. And guess what? Zapdos is on and off and on and off the top 10 most graded Pokemon. But guess what? We've never seen Alakazam on there. So when you think about the difference in the price between these two, I mean, you're basically buying 4 packs. That's exactly what you're getting in this. Each have 4 packs in it. But with the Zapdos, I think you're going to have increased collector interest further down the road. Plus, you're buying it at a $13 discount compared to this. If you're looking at a price per pack perspective, not the best deal here. You're still paying a little north of $9 a pack here. So not a great price per pack, but if you're looking for a sealed product that you can hold on to when you got a huge name like Zapdos tied to it, I think this has a lot of opportunity. So when I'm looking at these two, guess what? Poor Alakazam, not even looking at that at almost $50. I think the Zapdos box is a really fair valued product right now. And again, another one that I think long and down the road is going to have a lot of collector interest in it. So next one right here. Speaking about things at 1-year high, this Charizard EX, the Sunzard, whatever you want to call it, I think this card, even at $156, look at some of the best Charizards from eras, right? You can look at the best Charizard from any different era. It has performed really well over the long run, and this has a very, very strong possibility of being the very best Charizard from the Scarlet and Violet era, from the best set, possibly, of the Scarlet and Violet era, from a specialty set with a crazy low gem rate. All of those things just create this amazing card and this amazing opportunity. And I know $156 for a ultra modern raw card is a lot of money, but when I think about where this card could be 5, 10, 15 years down the road, 151 is the type of set people are always going to be interested in. So when I think about where the price could be that far down the road, I think $156 is a very fair price. Now listen, again, all of us wish 3 months ago, 2 months ago, however long ago, we would have pulled the trigger when it was down in the $120 range, or even further back when it was at the $100 range. But guess what? You don't have a time machine, okay? So it is what it is, but I do think $150 something for this card is actually a fair price. A great value? No, but a fair price with a huge opportunity for big gains in the future. Now, the final sealed product that I'm talking about right here is the booster bundle, and I'm just not a huge fan of booster bundles. Like, I know, especially for specialty sets, that's where it makes sense. You get 6 packs for the cost of 6 packs, and you can't really find that anywhere else in the specialty set space because they don't have booster boxes. But for me, every single time I've looked at these, I have always made the decision when the new set is coming out, like, what do I want to do? Do I want to buy a bunch of booster bundles, or do I want to buy Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes? And I know they're very different products, but I don't own any booster bundles, and I've never purchased any. Whenever I'm able to get some money, I go for the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box. But if you just want packs, this is still the cheapest way to get packs right now, and the market loves this product. I am absolutely a voice of one when it comes to not being a huge fan of these, and that's okay. Not all of us are going to agree on everything all the time, because the only thing that matters is the people who will buy your products in the future, and I'm telling you, there are a ton of people out here who absolutely love this. So from a price per pack perspective, this is the best you can get right now. $151 is going to be amazing, and it is sub $50. Still a ton of money to pay for 6 packs, but I can only see this increasing, as I said, further down the road once 151 really does get out of the restock window, and once it kind of starts to disappear from collectors' minds, and at least thinking that we might find it at MSRP anywhere. So really bright future for these booster bundles. Now we're getting into just cards. The final ones on this list are going to be just cards, and I highlighted this card in my 10 favorite cards under $10 the other day. And that's this Mew EX. So this is the promo card, or one of the 3 promo cards that comes in the Ultra Premium Collection box. And guess what? That Ultra Premium Collection box is taking off like a scalded rabbit in terms of price. And this is another card that has fantastic artwork on it, and guess what? The gem rate on this is just as low as all of the other cards in terms of, I think it's like 36% gem rate overall for this Mew EX card. So you have amazing artwork. It's coming from a sealed product that is increasing in value exponentially. I mean, the thing is growing absolutely at a crazy rate, and I don't see a ton of them being reintroduced into the market. There's a lot that goes into reproducing those Ultra Premium Collection boxes. Now, I could be wrong. As I said, they might have warehouses of these, and they're just waiting for the holiday season to drop them on all of us. But all you can do is make the best decision you can with the information you have at the present date and time. And I'm going to tell you right now, for $8, I think you could do a whole lot worse than picking up a bunch of these cards, because I think they do have a very bright future. If you are fortunate enough to get a bunch of them, and you get a few through to PSA, and you get a couple PSA 10s, I think you are in even better shape. This card has amazing artwork. It comes from an amazing sealed product, and I think it has a very, very bright future. Next one right here. Now, I have been very much anti-trainers because the market has been anti-trainers for a long time. But when you think about whenever we look at sets, almost exclusively, when we look at sets and we look at the top 20 cards, there's almost always a trainer card up there. Like, you can go back as far as you want to. I use Pokedata.io. They're one of my favorite websites. I can look at all of the top 20 cards very easily. There's almost always a trainer card up there. And this Erica's Invitation card, the artwork is really stunning. It's a beautiful card. If you haven't seen it in person, it is really, really beautiful. Now, it has been on a terrible trend over the last year, but it is finally starting to flatten out. I think the market realizes the artwork is too awesome. This is the biggest trainer card from 151. So this could be one of the cards that is at $15, $16 right now. But again, further in the future, we could see a pretty significant bounce. There is very little downside in buying this card at the $15, $16 range. You get great artwork. You get the big trainer card from one of the biggest sets in recent memory. Like, there's not a lot to dislike about this. So I know it's had a very rough year, but again, we're starting to see it flatten out in that $15, $16 range. So that's why it's on the list. That's why I think it's an incredibly fair price to go after it right now. Next card right here is the Charmander, and this card is just adorable. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say. I know the cards are supposed to be awesome with this big, powerful art, but this is just a cute card. You got Charmander down in the valley, looking up above. Like, I love this more than the Charmeleon card, obviously. He's staring up at Charizard up above. Like, this card is just really, really awesome. And when you look at it over the last year, you can buy it now at a 7.5% premium versus where it was a year ago. And I think that's a really compelling statement right there when you think about, again, the evolution line of this card, the artwork of this card, and I just think this card has a very bright future. Not a lot of Charmander cards have this really long-term upside potential, but I do think this card, for all of the reasons we've stated before, does. And again, you're only buying it at a 7.5% premium over where it was a year ago. You know, you've had the opportunity to sit on the sidelines and kind of wait and see how the set flushes out and see how the market reacts to it and see how things move for the last year, and you're only paying 7.5% more for that degree of certainty. So I think that is a very, very worthy premium to pay for a card like this. Now, the next one right here I've talked about this ad nauseum. I think this card is stunning. And again, you're talking about a card in the $20 range. You got Pikachu, you got Gengar, you got all kinds of Pokemon on this card right here. And it is another one with a really, really low gem rate. Now you can see it's starting to creep up to the 1-year high. But again, if you look at it over the last year, you're only paying a 4% premium versus where it was. A lot of these awesome artwork cards, I just don't see them staying in the $20 price range forever. Particularly once we get into this set being, I don't know, 24, 30 months old, I think that's when we're going to see a lot of these cards really start to shoot up in value. Now, it has stayed pretty consistently in that $20 range. You see it dipped all the way down to $15 just for a short moment, but it's really been in the $18, $20 range. So you're thinking about now, if you pick it up at 21, you're not paying too much of a premium versus where it's been over the last year. You're picking up Pikachu from 151 with all of these other awesome Pokemon on it. Like, you cannot go wrong picking up this card in the $20 space. I think it is awesome. And for all of the reasons that I've stated, I think this card is worthy of being on this list. Now, the next one right here, we talked about the Wartelle, but we got to talk about the Blastoise, okay? Obviously, the Sunzard at the very top, that's the #1 card. That's the biggest chase card. But this Blastoise is coming in at #2, and over the last year, it has not moved a ton. Now, we've talked about what we've seen a lot in 151 is it has this really strong support line, but then it has a really firm resistance line. As you've seen all of these graphs, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. They don't really test that new resistance line at the very top. But if you look at where this card is, it is just a little bit above where it was a year ago. And you'll see it is starting to test a new high. And that is why I think now might be the time to get in on this. I think this card is going to do really well. I mean, heck, when you think about cards, think about all of the sets that have multiple cards over $100. The artwork isn't nearly as great as this one is. So I do believe 151 in the long run could be one of these sets. When you think about the popularity of it, when you think about, you know, the gem rates, when you think about all of those things combined, I think 151 has the opportunity to have multiple $100 plus cards further down the road. And if that ends up happening, I think this will absolutely be one of them. And you can get it again at almost the exact same price that it was a year ago. Amazing artwork, awesome card at a very fair value. Checks all of my boxes. And that is the final one on the list. I had a ton of fun pulling this together. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm sure I missed one of your favorite products. I'm sure I missed one of your favorite cards. So tell me what you think about it. And I just know this, I appreciate you so much. I have so much fun doing this, and I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, hit the subscribe button. We do fun stuff all the time. Got questions or comments, drop them down below. And as always, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. See you, everybody. Bye.